Okay, so next up we basically have activation functions.
This video is brought to you by EpiPies Academy.
Okay, so now this is a very important concept when we are dealing with neural networks, because this is basically a section where we can understand how a neural network propagates forward. Okay, so now fundamentally we need to understand what an activation function actually is. Okay, so it is basically a function or a method which takes in an input, which is the weight or the value of all the neurons which have fired before connecting to the corresponding neuron. Okay, and then based on all of that input, it does some processing and then gives an output, and which if the output is basically a number which can determine how the neuron will basically fire and be connected to the next neuron. Okay, so now we are basically looking at two fundamental types of activation functions. The first one being a linear activation function, and the second one being a non-linear or exponential activation function. Okay, so now linear activation functions are basically simple, whereas for every corresponding input value, which you can see over here, there is a corresponding output value. Okay, so by linear functions you basically cannot put in a bias, or basically you cannot put in a particular thing in your algorithm which says that if the input is above a certain value, then you have to fire a sure shot. And this is something which is not happening in linear functions, and which did cause a lot of problems, and that is why non-linear functions were basically created. And in these functions, the first one is the sigmoid function. Okay, so the sigmoid function uses this simple formula 1 upon 1 plus e raised to minus z, and where z is the input value. Okay, and as you can see, a sigmoid function basically acts as an S curve. So over here, after 4 or 6 value, basically the upper limit is very close to 1. So irrespective of what the neuron weight is, basically the input weight, then you have a corresponding output if the weight is above 4 or above 5. Okay, and with this you are basically ensuring that above a certain number the neuron will fire for sure. Okay, and the same is for the negative side. And then you basically have the tanh function, which basically returns a value between 0 and 1 for any given corresponding negative or positive value. It is the sigmoid function but shrunk in the vertical size. Okay, so then you basically have the ReLU function, which is the rectified linear unit, and this is basically a linear function again, but instead of having the linear increase part from the negative side of the x-axis or the negative input, you basically have 0. So if you have any negative input coming in on the input layer, then basically the neuron will not fire for sure. But then if you have something which is after the, or basically some an input which is positive, then you can be sure that the neuron will fire. Okay, so then we also have a leaky ReLU, and this basically has a very small negative gradient, as you can see over here. Okay, so with this we have some basic activation functions which are fundamental to understand right now. I will link this site in the lecture resources and you can have a look at it. Okay, so based on all of these tools which we have studied right now, we are going to develop a project which is called an XOR gate. Okay, so let's look up for the XOR gate over here. Okay, so as you can see, now this is the Wikipedia for the XOR gate. And basically XOR gate is a symbol or a logical unit used in the microprocessors or electronics, and it basically gives you a corresponding output for a set of inputs. Okay, so basically it means that for odd number of inputs which are high, so in the input you can have something which is either low or high. So for odd number of high inputs you will have a high output. Okay, so this is basically how XOR gate works. So now our task is basically to create an XOR gate without providing this particular rule. Okay, so now you and me, we know the rule that if you have odd number of inputs which are high, so over here this is an XOR gate of 2 inputs. So similarly we are going to code an XOR gate which will have 4 inputs, and we'll basically provide the input value. So we'll have high, low, high, low. So in this case we have 2 lows and 2 highs. So according to our rule, the corresponding output will be a low because we have even number of highs. Okay, so and instead we want odd number of highs. So if we have high, low, 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 then we'll have an output which will be high. Okay, so this is something which we will only be providing to the model. So we'll only be providing the input and the corresponding output value, and instead the model has to process all of these given data using a neural network, and then basically give us a generalized output by which we can test any new given input. Okay, so that is the task which we'll be doing. So now let's get started onto the coding part.